very much for joining us for another edition of the Formula Euro League. It's Sunday evening. My name is Adam Burns, your commentator, also known as Adensky on social media, so you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as Adensky. So we have a great race in store for you this evening. It's the Japanese Grand Prix round 13 of the Formula Euroleague. We are live here on the Formula Euroleague YouTube channel, so if you are new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. It's Formula_Euro_League. You can also follow us on Instagram as well under the same tag, Formula_Euro_League, and also on our Twitter page, which is Euro_Formula. Obviously someone had the handle for that one first. We also have a website as well. If you are new to this, do check the website out. It's f1europeanleague.wixsite.com/Formula Euroleague. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and the link to the website is on the bio. It's got great content, highlights from the races, bios about your favourite drivers, and of course yours truly as a commentator as well. Plenty of great content. So it looks like we're about to get underway for qualifying. Let me know where you are watching the stream, wherever you are around the world. I do hope that you are having a very pleasant Sunday evening. And of course, we are still currently in the lockdown phase where I am in the UK, and obviously where you are around the world. Hopefully you're all staying safe, staying healthy and staying at home this Easter bank holiday weekend. And of course, that includes enjoying lots of chocolate as well. Before we get underway, just to bring your attention, a very sad piece of news that came to my attention this morning that was mentioned earlier on is the passing of the late, great F1 and motorsport legend that was Sir Stirling Moss, who sadly passed away today at the age of 90. Sir Stirling Moss was one of the greatest drivers of all time, arguably the greatest driver to have never won the Formula 1 World Championship, but boy did he come close to doing that. In his career that spanned between 1955 and 1961 of 7 seasons of Formula 1, Sir Stirling came runner-up in 4 seasons and third in the other 3, scoring a total of 16 wins back when the Formula 1 seasons were a lot shorter, including 24 podiums as well in his 67 starts, or 66 starts I should say officially. Sir Stirling was an inductee into the International Motorsports Hall of Fame, won 212 of the 529 races he entered. Figures that many drivers would be very happy to have towards the end of their careers. And on behalf of myself and everyone involved at Formula Euroleague, I would like to express my condolences to Sir Stirling and his family and friends at this difficult time. The world of Formula 1 has lost another legend, and I'm sure whatever afterlife or other world that you may or may not believe in, I'm sure Sir Stirling will be in great company with the likes of the late Niki Lauda, James Hunt, Ayrton Senna and others. So Sir Stirling, we will miss you. Rest in peace. And now to the main event of the evening. The Japanese Grand Prix for Formula Euroleague qualifying is about to get underway at the circuit in Suzuka. As far as the championship situation, well, those have already been wrapped up in terms of the champions for both drivers and constructors. Of course, if you tuned into our coverage of last week's Canadian Grand Prix, I should say, please excuse me, you would know that Darth FIFA 114, otherwise known as Thomas, get my names all muddled up there, who is crowned champion for Season 4 of the Formula Euroleague at Canada with his victory at the Canadian Grand Prix last week. So congratulations to him, and also congratulations to the Williams team. Great performances from Thomas and Felix as well have guaranteed that they will win the Constructors' Championship for the first time as well. So congratulations to the Williams team. Of course, you would have noticed that my co-commentator Matthias is not available for this weekend's race, as he is otherwise occupied with important family commitments. But I'm sure he will be watching the coverage somewhere at home. So good evening to you as well, Matthias. Hopefully to see you back for the very next race. But just because the championship situation is over does not mean that the action is over. Of course not, no. Plenty of battles to go on in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship as we're about to get underway for qualifying. Of course, right now, for those of you unfamiliar with Formula Euroleague qualifying, it's 18 minutes, short qualifying, Everyone goes out to set the fastest times that they possibly can. And of course the top 10 runners will start the race on the tyres that they started the race on, assuming that the race will be in dry conditions. Of course, if it's in wet conditions like it was in Brazil a couple of weeks ago, then it's a free choice of tyre. But the top 10 starting on the tyre that they set their fastest times with, and the rest of the field will get a free choice of tyre. So we have the two Williams drivers now, and here he is, the Season 4 champion for Formulaeuroleague, DAF FIFA 114. Excellent performance this season. Championship battle was hampered by the injury to Michael, otherwise known as FEL_AMG44, the Mercedes, with a hip injury halfway through the season. However, there's no dispute that Thomas has been the class of the field this year and thoroughly deserving of his championship victory, so congratulations to him once again. And of course, let's not forget his established teammate Felix, done a great job for the Williams team. Not always been the supporting act in his own right, he's been very competitive this season, and I'm sure he will hope to continue that and secure potentially third place in the Drivers' Championship, which is possible. Currently that is occupied by Tim Wentink in the Red Bull. And of course, Tim will be hoping to hold on to that third position. Let's not forget this man here, Ice-T, current championship leader in VRL Formula 2 and also fourth place in the Formulaeuroleague, will have plenty of ambition to get into third in the championship. Can he continue his good run of form after coming second, narrowly missing out on the victory owing to time penalties in Canada? Of course, if you want to check that race out, you can do on the channel. It was a great race, and I'm sure you'll agree. The season may be over in terms of the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship being won, but that does not mean the action is going to be over at all. Far from it. So plenty of other stories, of course, in the Constructors' Championship, as DAF FIFA's gone off the road. The champion has gone off the road and gone into the barrier at the second Degner by the looks of it. That is not the way he would want it. Oh, and we've also had Matthias Gamer as well. He's lost it. Oh, and he's gone into the wall. And well, that's not the best way to start your qualifying lap, and he's completely ruined that front wing, so he's going to have to change that. There's Magic Alonso as well. Also has some trouble there. So plenty of incidents already going, but here's one man who is not having such trouble. Felix, fastest in Sector 1, fastest in Sector 2, of course first man over those sector times, and he will put his car on provisional pole position temporarily. And of course last year, you're absolutely right. We'll just go back to that as Felix comes across the line. 1:28.3, not a bad time. Expecting pole perhaps to be in the 1:27s. And Ice-T does a 1:28.1, and then his teammate KJ Eltink has gone 1:27.5, so that's more like it. An R-double game of 1:27.7, so the times are tumbling now. We're starting to see the representative times. Great to see. From Benjamin there, going second fastest in the Renault, but this man, KJ Eltink, raced earlier on in the Renault team with his teammate Ice-T in the FEL Champions League 2, the second tier of Formulaeuroleague. Of course, I won't spoil the result for you too much, but I definitely recommend you go check that race out. It was a brilliant race from start to finish, and you can see that happened earlier on today. That was the Brazilian Grand Prix Round 2, and that is a championship that is really picking up steam, so I definitely recommend you guys go and check that out. It's a great looking championship, plenty of good young drivers. Hopefully for a great season ahead, it will bring more action. Yes, as Lassie also mentioned, tonight, he makes an excellent point in the chat, we race for Sir Sterling Moss tonight. Absolutely, I would like to dedicate this broadcast, as I did earlier, to Sir Sterling's memory and a tribute to his racing legend. He will never be forgotten. Truly, a legend of the sport has been lost with us today, and it's a very sad day for the sport. However, I'm sure Sir Sterling would have wanted us to carry on, race on. Just as many great Formula 1 drivers that do pass through would want the show to continue, and it's going to be a great show tonight. Plenty of quick drivers. Another man here, Luke, currently occupying 7th on the grid, will want to improve on his previous times. And Donkey as well in the Red Bull had a decent run of form of late. We'll be hoping to continue that into this race in the Red Bull. Didn't work out too well from the Canadian Grand Prix, 14th overall in a very difficult race, plenty of incidents. Hopefully this time round he'll be able to do better for the Red Bull team and give his teammate Tim some more support in the Constructors' Championship, and boy do Red Bull need it. The Constructors' standings at the moment have Mercedes in second place with Racing Point behind them and Red Bull. Very tight battle for second place between those three. Mercedes currently have a 60-point gap for the Racing Point team. It is possible for them to secure second place in the Constructors' standings this weekend. However, they will need results to go their way and also to score big points themselves. But it's not over for them yet. And what can Donkey do now as he comes around a final corner? Not really the best of laps. He gives that one up and goes into the pit lane. Another driver going into the pit lane, Monster. So everyone into the pit lane overall. And just Kerem in the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo need to score some points. Currently 9th in the Constructors' Championship. Kerem himself has only scored 4 championship points this season. Hopefully he can find some form in this race. It's a bit more of a free-for-all now that the championships have been decided. This should relieve the pressure on some drivers. We might be able to get a better show for it nonetheless. Let me know what you think in the chat. Who do you think is going to get on pole? Who do you think is going to win the race? It's a very tight field by the looks of it. As you can see, the top 9 separated by just over a second. And the times will come tumbling down more and more. This track has a nature of getting faster and faster and faster the more rubber that's laid down on it. Kerem's well off the pace now, so it looks like he's going to go into the pits. This man, Magic Alonso in the Ferrari, needs to put on a better performance. He's been, less to be said, out of form in the last couple of races. He's not really had the rub of the green. Ended up finishing 15th in Japan. Needs to try and see if he can improve on that. He's a quick driver, always got pace on him in the Ferrari. The Ferrari need points in the Constructors' standings at the moment, currently running uncharacteristically 6th overall. Magic Alonso himself further down the order in the Constructors' Championship, outside the top 10. And he will be hoping to try and score some more points. Ferrari need points at this race. And this is a track that's always been kind to Ferrari in previous years. However, their last win was back in 2004, believe it or not. After 5 years of winning Japanese Grand Prix in the real world of Formula 1 from 2000 to 2004, Ferrari have not won yet since that race, 16 years ago. Hopefully, Magic Alonso and teammate Joran as well, who's currently 10th fastest, might be able to change that. Let's see what the middle sector is now for Magic Alonso. There's a final sector, yellow, and there's going to be a lot of traffic ahead as you go on board with it now. A lot of drivers backing off to start their laps. And this massive concertina effect that usually takes place on these kind of circuits. Thankfully for Magic Alonso, this will not affect him this time around. He goes across the line, only 11th fastest, so still a lot of time left on the table for him. He's not really enjoying himself out here. As Ice-T decides to leave the session. Interesting what he does. So Thomas, Season 4 champion, the new champion for Formula Euroleague. Well off the pace at the moment, over half a second off of KJ Eltink. A lot of pressure off his shoulders now. He's got the championship in the bag. Secured another win in Canada. And he'll be hoping to repeat his performance and try and see if he can get himself on the top step of the podium. There's no pressure on him at the moment, so hopefully for him he'll be able to get that going. As Felix in the Sister Williams goes second fastest, so that's a huge improvement from him. In the last practice session he was 9th fastest overall, but he was prioritising race strategy, he said to me. So he'll be very quick in the race, and Felix tends to be very fast around Japan. It's a track he does like. There's no surprise to see him on the front row at the moment, but with 8 minutes to go, guys, a lot can change. Do not go anywhere. I'm going to have a exciting race ahead. According to the chat, squad building reckons the race is going to be dry. So we'll have to wait and see as Ice-T rejoins the session. He's had internet trouble before, so I hope it's not hampered him too much, as we've now the second place man in the Drivers' Championship, Maiko, who unfortunately we'll never know how much of a fight he really could have put into this championship battle with Thomas da FIFA after his injury halfway through the season. But since his return, he's driven pretty well. Unfortunate, didn't really get the rub of the green in Canada, was relegated to 7th overall. He says to me, hopefully once his hip feels a bit better, next season he'll definitely be going for the championship, and it will be great to see if he can get back into winning ways again. He's fastest in the middle sector, so this one's going to be a quick time. Currently 5th overall, 4 tenths off of KJ Elting's time. Hugs the line to the right hand side, it's the shortest route, and he goes to the front row, 2nd fastest. He was a bit off in the final sector, but that middle sector was mighty from Maiko, and he puts him on the front row. Great effort from him. It's now with his teammate in the sister Mercedes. So Mercedes have to try and secure 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship. They can do that today. But as I said before, they're going to have to score big points, and they're going to have to hope results go their way with Racing Point. Red Bull's case is kind of out of the question for them. They need Mercedes to not score enough points today. It's really Racing Point that has a fighting chance of getting runner-up in the Constructors' title. And of course, Maiko will need to try and secure 2nd place, as Lucas decided to go through the old pit lane in Japan that used to be there 15 years ago. The old pit lane entrance, not there anymore. So see who else is on the lap at the moment. Monster needs to get up the field in this race. Didn't have a good race. He ended up retiring from the Canadian Grand Prix, so he needs a good race. What can he do? Can he re-find his form? He was 6th fastest in practice, and he'll be looking to try and repeat that performance as the race goes on. Of course, he's a driver that does tend to get quicker as the season progresses, as the races progress, and today he's going to need to put in a big performance for the Haas team. They need points in the Constructors' Championship. Currently running 7th overall, battling with Toro Rosso and Alfa Romeo in the Constructors' Championship. And Monster currently occupying 10th in the Drivers' Championship to fend off Magic Alonso and FEL Freeze as well. It banners that lap. And his teammate Paul Ayer, another driver, needs to find form. Has not yet scored a championship point in the Drivers' Championships. He'll be hoping to add to the tally for Haas. They need him to get on the points, get on the score sheet. We'll have to wait and see. 5 minutes to go, guys. Let me know who you think is going to go on pole position. Can anybody topple KJ Elting's time of a 1:27.5? It's doable, but that's a mighty time from him. It's going to take some doing. So just a quick question, guys. I know you guys look forward to my weekly questions, so let me know the answer to this question. Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. I was just looking at a message I got on the chat. Salatia, thank you very much for your feedback on the camera settings. These are the normal camera settings that I like to run when I do the broadcast. Of course, my co-commentator Matthias does a great job with the camera work and broadcasting work and commentary as well. And I'll be back soon. Of course, I'm happy to share my tips and share my camera tips, and that's a bit disappointing. It's following him around the lap and he decides to abandon it. So Lorenzo Bandini on a lap at the moment. He's improved in the middle sector. In the first sector, sorry, I should say. See what he can do in the middle sector now. He's down into 12th place, as Joran has improved up into 11th. And what can he do here? It's coming through the final chicane. Famously the area where Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost had that incident back in the 90s. The famous incident in 1989, which resulted in their crash. And of course, Ayrton Senna was pushed over to recover from the track and then disqualified later in the race, which was won by Alessandro Nannini. It was one and only race of his career back in 1989. So back to my earlier question. So following with Joran at the moment in the Ferrari, who's on his hot lap. See what he can do. So my question for this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching if you're interested. So 2000 was the year that Michael Schumacher won his 3rd World Championship, his first for Ferrari, after 21 years of hurt and pain for the Ferrari team. It was their first driver's title since 1979. So my question is, which driver won the World Championship last for Ferrari in 1979 before Michael Schumacher? Let me know in the chat who that driver was. The 1979 Drivers' World Champion. The Joran comes through the final corner now and abandons his laps. So a lot of drivers abandoning in their laps. As now we go to the final part of qualifying. Felix now, can he improve? Needs to try and see if he can find some time. But he's stuck behind Magic Alonso, who gets out of the way eventually. But that turbulent air is definitely going to upset him. He's going to get a massive toe off his teammate. Darth Fever helping his teammate out, as you can see, gets out of the way, but there's a lot of traffic ahead of Felix. Felix improves in sector 2, so he's up in the middle sector. Is he going to be able to find that little bit more time to try and see if he can get his Williams onto the front rows? Ice-T moves up into 4th place. We missed that one. Great lap from him. Felix comes across the line, and he's slower. 1:27.7, so he does not improve. What can this man do? Maiko, FEL_AMG. Manages to avoid the Toro Rosso, who goes wide. Now the long run coming up to 130R, one of the legendary corners on the Formula 1 calendar. A lot easier to take now in a current Formula 1 car, and Maiko is half a second off in the middle sector. That's not going to do for him. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to put this car on pole position. As you can see, yes, he gives up the lap. As Luke decides to go the senior route, and now Tim, what can he do? This is a quick time, and he goes second fastest. He puts that Red Bull onto the front row, and Tim Wentink, usually very quick in qualifying, and he's done it again on the front row of the grid alongside KJ Elting, who, by contrast, is not having the best of laps at the moment. He's well off the pace, so he's given up the ghost on it, but he is provisional pole at the moment. Ice-T now, what is he going to do? Is he going to go for one more run? Currently 5th at the moment. No, he does not. So very slow across the line. So that's not going to count. Oh, and our double gamer, Benjamin, has gone pole position. We've missed that completely just as he comes across the line. What a lap from Benjamin. Our double gamer in the Renault puts that Renault on provisional pole out of nowhere. And Thomas Star FIFA goes 3rd fastest for Williams. So now that has shaken up the order a little bit. Great lap from the champion, Formula Euroleague Season 4 champion Thomas, aka Darth FIFA 114, goes 3rd fastest. And now we're with Luke. What can he do in the Toro Rosso? He was a 10th off his own time in the 1st sector. And now he's had to avoid the Red Bull in front of him. And he's up in the middle sector. He's fastest of all in the middle sector. He's a 10th up on himself. So now what can he do? Can he find that extra bit of speed? Can he find that extra few tenths to plonk him further up the order? It's going to be a tight one. He's currently 10th. What's this time going to be? And he goes 9th fastest. So he's ahead of his teammate. Is there anyone left on a lap? I think Paul is just coming across the line now. He improves, but he only stays 18th for 129.2, so not the improvement he would have wanted. As KJ Elting, he's faster in the middle sector. This could be pole, and he's nicked provisional pole. It's pole position for KJ Elting at the dying embers of qualifying. Snatches pole away from our Dapple Gamer. What a great lap. We just caught the end of it. And that's qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. So is KJ Elting at the very last moments nicking pole position from our Dapple Gamer in the Renault, occupying the front row. The Formula Euroleague champion, Darth FIFA, is in 3rd on the grid, ahead of Tim Wentink, who set the exact same time, but will start behind him as Darth FIFA set that time first. Maiko is 5th for Mercedes, a return to form in qualifying, followed by Felix in the Williams, very tight behind him. Very tight indeed. 200th of a second covering 3rd to 6th. Then Ice-T in 7th, Bok Tormens 8th, Luke 9th, and Lorenzo Bandini, his teammate in the Toro Rosso, occupying the 5th row in 10th. So that is qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you think is going to win this race. It's looking very tight at the front, very competitive. This is going to shape up to be a very exciting Japanese Grand Prix indeed. And we're going to have, if my master's right, 27 or 28 laps of hard racing, probably 27 laps actually I should say, half distance. The races, if you're new to Formula Euroleague, 50% races, but double the action. Definitely not half of the excitement when you get half a race. Plenty of action to look forward to. As you can see, the track conditions look perfect. It's a sunny day in beautiful Japan, right next to the theme park in Suzuka, the famous Ferris wheel overlooking the Suzuka International Circuit. We'll be looking forward to seeing the cars about to get underway, this figure of 8 circuit in Japan. As we're shaping up for the formation lap, as we're about to get underway for the race. As KJ Elting in the racing point leads them away for the formation lap. So as we go for the formation lap, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the Formula Euroleague channel, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. It's Formula_Euro_League. The same handle on Instagram as well. Twitter, Euro_Formula. And do check out the bios for our web pages as well. It's a great work done from a lot of good, young, hard-working people behind the scenes. What more could you want, indeed? Just to run through that, it's F1 European League wixsite.com/Formula Euroleague. All of your great highlights, content from your favourite Formula Euroleague drivers, and of course yours truly as commentator, is on that website. Do check that out, and please continue to support us. Those of you that have in the past and continue to do so, we thank you immensely for your support. So now as we come through the final part of this formation lap to get ready for the race, it looks like a one-stop race. The top 10 all occupying the softer compound tyres. Heckkamper, the leading medium runner. Keep an eye on him in the sister Renault. He's looking like he could cause a storm today on the medium tyres. The alternate strategy does seem popular around here, but the top 10 have all gone for the soft tyres. And we expect for them to pit around about perhaps 11 or 12 laps in to don the medium tyres, or if someone's feeling a bit bold and fancies an undercut, they may go on to the harder tyres, which will be good to start with, but may compromise them later on. So for those of you interested, I asked an earlier question where Michael Schumacher won the 2000 World Championship for Ferrari, his third title and Ferrari's first in 21 years. My question was, who was the champion in 1979, last time Ferrari won the Drivers' World Championship? And the answer to that was Jody Scheckter, the first and only African world champion. So congratulations to those of you who got that. I think Swan was the first to get that. Congratulations to him in particular for being the first to get that one correct. So now we're about to get started. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Grab something to eat quickly, get comfortable on your couch. It's Sunday evening, it's Formula Euroleague, and it's the Japanese Grand Prix. As now the drivers are lining up into their grid slots. We've got 27 laps around the figure of 8 Suzuka International Circuit, the scene of many championship climaxes in the past. Won't be that way today as both championships are decided, but there is plenty of action ready to come. We're about to get underway. The fans are in unison, all applauding away. They are ready to get underway. As the lights are about to go out. There's 4 lights, there's 5 lights. It is time to go racing. And it's KJ Elting off the line. It gets a great start. Ardapple Gamer tucks in behind him, doesn't get away well. Tim Wenting gets a great start, and so does Felix in the Williams. He clears too as Thomas, the champion, goes very wide into turn 1, goes off the road and falls down the order, but they're free wide with Ice-T and also Luke going into the S's side by side and are managing to avoid contact. It's a great getaway from them as Darth FIFA falls even further down. The Formula Euroleague champion falls further down into 11th place as the pack falls into line and gets underway. Thankfully, it does not look like anyone has received any serious damage, and they all get away relatively cleanly. As KJ Elting leads the way in the racing point. Behind him is Benjamin Ardapple Gamer, looking to get very racy behind him as they go into the hairpin now. As Tim Wenting up into 3rd. Fantastic start from Felix from 6th into 4th. Maiko as well up into 5th. His Mercedes teammate Boxall Men's Simon up into 6th place, and Luke in 7th. Ice-T 8th. Lorenzo Bandini in 9th. Monster in the Haas. Great start from him up into 10th place. And the champion Darth FIFA Thomas has some work to do, falling down the order, and now he's up into 11th place after running wide at turn 1. Now coming straight up to 130R as Benjamin is looking very racy behind KJ Elting. He wants to get in that slipstream early. He does not want to let him get away, as too does Felix to Tim Wenting. There's a championship battle going on between these guys. They want to fight for third in the championship, and Felix right now is in prime position to take advantage and move into that, occupy that third position in the Drivers' Championship. Followed harsh and quickly behind him is Maiko in 5th place, looking to get very racy and try and get ahead of him as well. Further down the order we have Headcamper and Monster battling for 11th and 12th position. Headcamper did not have the great start, but he's the leading runner on the medium tyres and will look to try and see if he can get further and further ahead. He needs to overtake Monster to try and put a challenge, as Darth FIFA has gone up into 10th position in the Williams, so his recovery drive has begun. Let's go further down the order. Donkey in the sister Red Bull needs to get a move on. His teammate is further ahead in 3rd place. That Red Bull can go faster. Of course, it's equal performance, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you interested and new to Formula Euroleague. No preferential treatment for any team. Everyone is equal performance, so it's down to the driver to indicate how fast that they will go around this challenging technical circuit. And Kerem further back in the Alfa Romeo, ahead of Magic Alonso. Not a great start for Steve once again. He needs to get going. He's a better driver than 16th, and hopefully as the race goes on his skills will come to the fore and he will be able to up his pace and move up the order. And there's a spin. It's Matthias Gamer who's collided with Paul Air, and he completely lost it coming out of the spoon curve. Thankfully for Paul, he can still go, as Matthias is down into last place as Killer 7 is now ahead of him. And Darth FIFA has made a move on Lorenzo Bandini in the chicane. He's got ahead of him up into 9th place. Tim Wenting sets the fastest lap of the race as DRS is now enabled. The fun is about to begin in Japan with DRS. It's absolutely brilliant to see. And now this is going to get very, very interesting now as DRS is enabled. Overtakes are going to be happening thick and fast, so make sure to keep your eye. As you can see, Donkey going around the outside of Kerem into 13th place. Brilliant move from him, just out of the corner right in turn 1. The two Ferraris having a battle. Joran, oh, and it's a spin, and it's the other Alfa Romeo. Kerem spins out, manages to keep it out of the wall, but he is going to go to the back of the field, to the race, so the Alfa Romeos, I should say, having a very difficult time avoiding spinning out, and that is not what the Alfa Romeo boss would have wanted to see. Both his drivers now at the back of the field, struggling to keep their rear ends from getting loose on them. And it's an uphill climb from them. Well, what a start, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, let me know what you think. If you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, make sure to like this video, of course. It helps us out massively. So keep showing your incredible support. We love you for it. As now this race starts to enter into its next phase now, as the drivers take up the position. As you've got Simon following closely behind his teammate, the Mercedes. They can secure 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship today, but they need results to go their way. But right now, KJ Elting is doing a great job in the racing point to make sure that that does not happen. Says fast lap of the race has now been beat by Benjamin, as DRS is now, it's been enabled now for overlap. Following close behind, the top 3, 4, 5, all separated by 2 seconds. It's a very, very tight gap between them. And this looks like it's going to be a great race. It's shaping up so far. It's beautiful sunny conditions here in Japan. Does not look like there's going to be any weather changes. Of course, if there are and you're aware of it, do let me know in the chat. Of course, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but it looks perfect so far, and that's what we want to see. As now the guys going full throttle, pedal to the metal through the Degners 1 and 2. Come at you like a flash. So fast those corners. In a modern Formula 1 car, you can really take it with great velocity. As we're all lining up now, no one really trying to make a bold move at the moment. Battles going on all over through the field. As Magic Alonso has got past his teammate Joran, so the Ferraris have switched positions now. Currently 14th or 15th, that is not where they want to be. They want to be further up the order, where they feel that they belong. But right now, it's not going their way at the moment. And Matthias Gamer's had another incident. He's getting bad to worse for him. Not the best day for Alfa Romeo, must be said. There's still plenty of time, though, to recover that in the race, but it's not looking good so far. Still go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, all coming through 130R. All line astir. There's a train forming behind KJ Elting. He just cannot seem to shake off the following cars behind him, as this now starts lap 5, as Maiko sets the fastest lap of the race. Extra point on offer for the fastest lap, plenty of incentive. But it'd be great to see as Thomas Star FIFA makes a move up the inside into turn 1, and he's ahead of Ice-T. So he's not messing about, he's getting on with it, and now that's another place up for Darfiva. Great move on him, great move on Ice-T, which is no mean feat to say a great driver Ice-T is, and that's a great move for Thomas up into 8th position after a very poor start. And Matthias Gamer, the first retiree from this race in the Alfa Romeo, giving up the ghost on that one, which is a shame, but he's just not been at the races so far today. So we're down to 19 runners. As Paul Air also retires from the session as well. So what has happened to him? Yeah, he completely dropped it after that corner there that Karen just went through. So all the drivers at the moment all following each other, no one looking to try and throw the car in and make overtakes. It seems Thomas Star FIFA is the only driver making overtakes at the moment. As we've got Kerem who's gone off the road at turn 1 as well. Now coming through the final chicane. Is anyone going to try and make a move? Everyone's so tightly together. Benjamin's right up behind here, but he's been compromised by his exit to the chicane, which is going to allow Tim Wenting to have a great run. But DRS is a great equaliser on this back straight. No one can really do any overtaking unless they're close enough to make a move for the lead, as Benjamin, double gamer, looking very close, tried to give a look at the inside to try and put KJ Eltig off, but he holds his nerve and retains the lead of the race. Now starting to get into that phase now where everyone is starting to set into their groove, picking their lines, looking after their tyres. Managing the tyres is going to be very, very key in this race. They're going to need to make sure that they do not burn their tyres up so far, and that looks like what everybody's doing at the moment. They're managing their tyres, managing their strategy. There's still plenty of time for racing to go on, but the last thing you want to do is burn up your tyres and make a mistake, and that's what Felix has just done there, and he's opened the door to Maiko. Can Maiko make a move? Is he going to go for the inside? No, he tucks in. Not gone for it yet, does not feel that the right time to make a move yet. So he holds position in 5th place, but that is exactly what can happen. You make one mistake, one wrong move, and all of a sudden the driver behind you will usurp your position and you will fall down the order. The top 7 separated currently by less than 2.5 seconds. It's brilliant to see from KJ Elting up to Luke in 7th place. And Lorenzo Bandini has made a move on Ice-T, and Ice-T's got a problem. Ice-T has got a problem. He's falling down the order. Something has happened to him. It looks like he's lost a piece of his front wing end plate. Well, he hasn't, but he's dropping down the order very, very quickly. He's in some real trouble. As now Felix has got a great run, and Tim Wenting, can he make a move to try and go into turn 1? We go on board with the Williams driver right now. He's in the slipstream, but Tim has got DRS as well behind Benjamin, and he just tucks in behind. Once again, not able to make the overtake this time around. Go to another battle for 10th place, the final championship point, currently occupied by Monster, who's being harassed all over this circuit by Headcamper on the medium tyres in the Renault. Only 2 drivers on the medium tyres, him and Kerem in the Alfa Romeo, who is a long way off at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what Headcamper can do later on in this race. He is on the alternate strategy at the moment, but it seems the popular tyre of choice is the softs, and they are holding out very, very nicely. I would say a lot of these drivers are going to want to try and do 12, 13 laps maybe, if they can. But of course, the top 7 so closely to each other. Any one of those drivers could pit early for an undercut and trigger an absolute, be the catalyst to trigger a domino effect in pit stops from the guys in front. If someone gets very ballsy and goes for the undercut now, maybe not right now, but soon in the next couple of laps, who is going to trigger the undercut? Oh, and Headcamper's had an incident. He's had an off and he's spun it. He spun it off at Spoon. He's had an incident where he went into Monster. You didn't see it on the track, just like Verstappen and Vettel did a couple of years ago. And unfortunately for Headcamper, he's completely compromised his race now. But now a great run from Maiko. Can he try and make a move at the inside of Felix? They just cannot seem to get a run. Everyone with DRS all keeping their positions. It's very well behaved. And right now, not a lot of overtaking done at the moment. That does not mean the action's boring. And then there's this man, the Formulaeuroleague Season 4 champion, Thomas, having a bit of a free reign at the moment. Championship 1 in the bag, Constructors Championship 1. He's basically got 3 races where he can do whatever he likes. It's like a free hit for him. Currently sitting nicely behind the chasing pack, just waiting to see what can happen. What can he do? Had that poor start, had a mistake, which caused him to fall down the order. He's recovered up into 8th position. We'll be looking to try and see if he can make waves up the order very, very soon. But right now, the top 8 drivers separated by about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds at the moment, as we now go into the next phase of the Japanese Grand Prix for Formula Euroleague. Oh, and there's a move. Felix has gone down the order. Felix has had an off, and Felix has spun it off at Spoon Curve, and now he needs to try and rejoin in a safe place. And now he's going to go right in front of Monster, who's going to be massively compromised, but Monster's going to look to try and see if he can make a move on Felix with the momentum he's built up from the exit of the second Spoon Curve. Not sure what happened to Felix there as Paul Air retires from the session. He leaves the session, and Monster's up the inside of 130R. Gets very tight. Oh, and they almost touch, but they managed to avoid contact. And well, wasn't able to see what happened to Felix. But now the pit stops are going, so now the undercut has been triggered. So the race leader, KJ Elting, comes into the pits first. He puts on the medium tyres. He's going to have to do 18 laps on those tyres, as too is Benjamin, our Dapple Gamer, and Simon as well. Felix has also come into the pits, as Joran as well. So the first of the pit stops has been triggered by the race leader. He decides to blink first. What will the others do? Will Tim respond? Will Maiko respond? Will Luke? Will Thomas respond to this? Remains to be seen. But now we're entering the phase now. What will they do? Will they gamble? Will they pit now? Those medium tyres, it's going to be a big ask for them to do 18 laps. Will they stay out longer? Do they have any grip left on those soft tyres to eke them out a bit further? Of course, by pitting earlier, the drivers behind will run the risk now of, if there's an incident or a safety car, this could bring back the advantage, bring it straight back to the guys that have decided to stay out. But Tim has got some clear air now to shake off the 2 in front of him, and now can get on his race, get his head down, try and see if he can put some quick laps in to get ahead. Oh, and KJ Elting has had an incident. He's had an incident where he's fallen back. He's lost places to Simon and Benjamin, as Tim and Maiko have both come into the pits to pull on the medium tyres. So they've responded, but they've both got time penalties for speeding in the pit lane, as too as Thomas. He's responded as well. Lorenzo Bandini and Luke both lead. 1-2 for Toro Rosso. Donkey comes through. Ice-T comes through. What is Tim going to do? Where is the chasing pack behind him? And right now, Tim comes out in the lead. So it's worked out brilliantly, and Benjamin has come through 3 wide into turn 1, and he manages to go through, and somehow Benjamin and the 2 Mercedes, and also KJ in the racing point as well, have managed to avoid contact into turn 1. That was very close. You couldn't fit a bus ticket between those 3 drivers, let alone getting a Formula 1 car without collision there. Excellent driving from those 3. And that has paid off massively for Tim, who now has taken the lead. Net lead, I should say. He's 6th at the moment, but the 5 in front of him have to stop. So that undercut from KJ and Benjamin has not worked out. Benjamin finds himself now behind Tim, and Tim is looking prime position at the moment to take the win. But will he be able to get the job done and take advantage of the situation he's found himself in? Let me know, guys, in the chat. Do you think Tim can now go on to win this race, or will Benjamin, now that he's been freed from behind KJ, can he catch Tim and can he overtake him? Maiko now finds himself in 8th position, and Simon also ahead of KJ. So the 2 Mercedes looking in a good position now. They're in a great position now. They're ahead of their main rival for the Constructors Championship in KJ. Ice-T further down the road, but they've all pitted now. So now the pit stops for Luke, Donkey, Ice-T, and also just those 3, I should say, as Benjamin sets a new fastest lap. Where is Luke going to rejoin? He's going to rejoin in 8th position, so roughly where he was when all the pit stops started. But he's ahead of Felix and Darth FIFA still, so that is important for the Toro Rosso driver. As KJ leading the race earlier on, now he's going to have work to do to try and get himself back up the order and try and get back into first place again. He's going to have to do some overtaking now. It's not going to be easy. As we've seen from this opening stint, the drivers did not have the easiest time overtaking each other. Everyone very consistent, very fast, and one slight mistake can really cost you. And we haven't seen many of them, but when they've happened, they have happened. And now Tim finds himself behind MDJ in the McLaren, who's on 10-lap hold soft tyres, who's starting to build a bit of a train behind him, but he pulls out of the slipstream to the inside. Is he going to make the move into Spoon? He needs to get this right, and he does. He's up into second place. Great overtake from Tim, and now he can try and get his head down, build a bit of a buffer between him and Benjamin behind him, because now he needs to get away. Benjamin behind him. He's going to look to go to the inside at 130R. He's got a great run on him. MDJ does not fight it, but he goes very wide out of 130R. Is he going to make a lunge into the chicane? He does as well, and he's gone, and he's touched, but Benjamin manages to avoid a massive collision, and now Maiko and Simon behind him. Massive traction. Cohen out of the final corner now. He's going to try and tuck in with a DRS. It's going to be free wide into turn one between the two Mercedes and the McLaren, and both the Mercedes overtake MDJ. As KJ is right behind him, he's going to go in CS's. Is he going to make a lunge to go around the outside of the first test? He does on the fresh medium tyres, makes that move, gets it done. Excellent overtake. And now Luke is going to try and go to the inside. Can he make the overtake? He does. They're all dispatching MDJ. Those soft tyres are really giving up the ghost now. Surely he has to pit. He is falling right down the order as the leaders are now clearing him away and are back to where they were. But Darth FIFA is having a hard time coming through the Degners behind him. Is he going to make a lunge into the hairpin? He does. MDJ does not really fight it. Gets right up behind him, but he's going to let Thomas go. Thomas up into 7th place. Felix falling down the order after that mistake. Now he's going to have to try and recover his race to get further up the order. It's 12 laps gone in the Japanese Grand Prix for Formula Euroleague. Leader of the race is Tim Wenting, started 3rd in the race, has managed to get himself further up the order and is now leading the race after the pit stops. Benjamin Ardapple Gamer, 2nd on the grid, still 2nd at the moment. He's now got a Red Bull in front of him rather than a Racing Point. And then the two Mercedes battling each other. It's Maiko and Simon, 3rd and 4th for Mercedes. They need to score big championship points today if they can try and secure 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship. As now Simon goes for a move up the inside of his teammate. Is he going to make a stick into turn one? No, he backs off. He allows his teammates to stay ahead. Being sensible, not trying to go for too much. The last thing Mercedes want to do is jeopardise coming into one another and ruin the big haul of championship points that they currently have over Racing Point. Excuse me. And now KJ trying to get back into the lead again. He's got work to do. Did very well to lead the race outright earlier on, but now after a mistake, it's falling down the order. And now he's going for a move up the inside. Very ballsy dive bomb from him. The inside of Simon, but can he make the move stick? Simon's exit is a little bit compromised. He should have the traction coming on the exit, but KJ's a Racing Point Mercedes, both powered by the same Mercedes engine, equal performance, going into the spoon curve, and KJ sticks to the inside line, and he gets the move done up into 4th, got the shoulders out, barged the Mercedes out of the way, says, I am coming through. Thank you very much. And that's 4th place for KJ. Great move, great aggressive racing. Now we're starting to see the overtakes now as the drivers start to get a little bit more desperate, a little bit more racy, and a little bit more aggressive. As Luke tucks in, follows closely behind. Can he get a run on Simon? Simon was battling for 3rd a lap ago with his teammate. He's now in 5th, and he's in the clutches of Luke and the Toro Rosso behind him, who's had a rather quiet race by contrast at the back of this chasing pack. But I'm sure he'll be ready to pounce when the opportunity comes up. But right now, doing a good job hanging in there in 6th position. The two Williamses at the moment have a bit of a free race at the moment. Both of them made mistakes earlier in the race, currently 7th and 8th. As a going board with the Formula Euroleague champion Thomas Darth FIFA 114 looking to try and recover his race and get further up the field. At the moment, currently in 7th place. Let's go further down the order with Donkey chasing down Heckkamper, who's on very old medium tyres, looking to try and stretch this stint out. hopefully to try and put on a set of soft tyres towards the end of this race. Donkey needs to get in the points. Red Bull need points in their constructors battle with Racing Point and Mercedes, looking more likely to try and battle for third rather than second in the constructors, with Mercedes in the position they're currently in. But Donkey's going to give it all he's got, and he needs to get further up the order. Further down, Ice-T in the sister Racing Point, not having the rub of the green today. There's been no stranger to incidents of the last few races, and once again, despite a great showing in Canada, unlucky not to win owing to time penalties, down in 13th at the moment. He really needs to get further up, as Donkey has passed Heckkamper up into 10th position. So he's got that move done. Heckkamper tucking into his slipstream to try and see if he can get back in. And it's been a abysmal day I should say, for Ferrari and Mercedes, currently 14th, 15th and 17th, 18th respectively. Two great legends of the sport, two of the most decorated teams in Formula One, currently well below par, well down the order. It's not been a good day for them, as now the battle of the lead resumes. We have Tim, R Dapple Gamer, FEL AMG 44, KJ, Boktor Menz, LR Luke and Dar FIFA, all within a few seconds of each other, just as we were before, ladies and gentlemen. The order has shuffled a little bit, but the train resumes. DRS playing a massive impact on this race. They just cannot shake each other off. And sorry, Maiko having a move. It gets very loosey on the exit. Benjamin gets loosey as well. Four of them now all together, all going through. It's all going to be a run down to the spoon curve. Something is about to happen. Start recording, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to happen here, as now Maiko goes to the inside of Spoon. KJ round the outside, trying to hold his line. He's going to get a great run on Simon. Maiko, I should say Simon, right behind him in the system Mercedes, wide into 130R now. What is going to happen here? Oh, KJ going through the all following line of Sturv. Who's going to dive into the chicane? KJ goes dive up the inside, and he gets the move done, does he? Maiko has to go to the escape road a little bit, but it's a great move from me, KJ, and he's up into third position now. Maiko relegated into fourth, but he gets very racy behind. Is he going to go into turn one? He goes to the inside, dives in, but he yields a bit. Simon fending off Luke, who gets very racy to the outside of turn two. Is he going to make a stick? He goes to the inside on the S's, and Luke up into fifth position. Brilliant stuff. I'm sure there was going to be an accident, but all of them managed to keep their calm, keep their cool, a few overtakes to boot, and we continue racing. This is brilliant stuff, guys. You've got to love this action. Let me know what you think of what's going on in the chat, guys. It's gone a bit quiet. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Are you enjoying this? Because I certainly am. Make sure to smash that like button as well. And now Luke tucking in behind Maiko. He's going to look to try and see if he can get past the Mercedes. He's started to make his move now, Luke. He's found his speed. He's found his rhythm. He's starting to climb up that train. Watch out for him. He is going to be a big factor in this race, as the train is starting to spread out a little bit now. See KJ up into third now, chasing down Benjamin, R Double Gamer in second place, a second behind the leader, as Tim is trying to break off the DRS. At the moment, not able to do that at the moment. It's been an incident with one of the McLarens. MDJ having a spin there. It's getting bad to worse from the McLaren team. It's now 17 laps in, just over 10 laps to go now. Those are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, all within a few seconds of each other. Any one of these 7 can win, guys. Let me know who's going to win this race. Be any one of them. Anything can happen, and that's why we love Formula One racing. That's why we love Formulaeuroleague. Heckkamper with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as he makes his stop. That's the last thing he'd have wanted, as he puts on the soft tyres. He's going to be quick towards the end, but that 5-second time penalty is not going to do him any favours. So Lassie Gaming asking, where is Matthias, my co-commentator? Well, Matthias is unavailable this week. He's otherwise has family commitments. He's not able to work, but I'm sure he'll be with us again in the next race. Oh, it's getting very tight. Luke's getting very squirmish on the exit of the hairpin, getting a little nudge from Simon to boot, who in turn got a nudge from Thomas. It's getting very squirmish now. Very, very quick. A lot of pressure, immense pressure on these guys' shoulders at the moment. One mistake One mistake can be the difference between winning this race and finishing in 7th for these guys. Great to see the amount of pressure these guys must be under. It must be very difficult to maintain composure. As now Simon looking for a move at the inside. Not this time. Luke managing to hold the right line, defend well. And now going to try and maximise his exit. And Luke is not going to have DRS, but Simon will, and so will Thomas. And Simon is going to go to the inside. Luke is trying to force him very close to the wall there, but it's fair hard racing. And into turn 1 goes Simon into 5th position. Thomas looking to get in the action as well. And Simon retakes 5th place. And that's exactly what Mercedes need now. It's a racing point of KJ ahead of the 2 Mercedes. But they will still be able to pick up some big championship points now. With 10 laps to go, the battle for the lead. Tim is now only half a second ahead. As KJ gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That is not what he will need to keep this podium of his alive, and also to keep the Constructors' Championship race alive for his team. It's a battle for June between in 5th. Luke in 6th in the Toro Rosso, and 7th. Felix on his own in 8th place. Doesn't seem to have the pace in the latter part of this race. And right now the gap between Mercedes and Racing Point in the Constructors' Championship, for those who are interested, it's currently 60 points between Mercedes and Racing Point. Of course, 88 points on offer, including fastest lap for the remainder of the season. So long story short, Mercedes need to outscore the Racing Point team by 28 points in order to come 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. At the present, that is not happening. KJ in 3rd place with 15 points. And Simon is still ahead of Luke, but Luke is now fending off Thomas in the Williams. It's not happened yet, but Thomas is starting to get very impatient behind. Now he wants to get one. CS BBTGJ Bulwark asking about penalties as Heckkamper sets the fastest lap of the race, as predicted, given he's on the softer tyres. However, I don't know if he will score a point for that being outside the top 10 at the present time. But of course we'll wait and see to find out. So he's asking about penalties. Well, at the moment, yes, penalties will become a factor. Ice-T gets a 3-second time penalties. I will be able to check briefly. However, given that I am on my own at the moment, it's very difficult to check these without compromising. Oh, and KJ's made a mistake. He's made a huge mistake out of the spoon curves. And he's now fallen down the order into 7th. And that is exactly what Mercedes need. They are now running 3rd and 4th in the race now. However, with 27 Constructors' points, it is not enough to seal 2nd place, but that mistake from KJ will go a long way to securing 2nd position in the Constructors' Championship for the Mercedes drivers. And Maiko now up into the podium positions again, but of course the battle for the lead between Tim and Benjamin is starting to heat up now. It's starting to get very tasty indeed. Only a few tenths between, and Benjamin is starting to lick his lips. The opportunity of a win is staring him right at the face, and it looks like a red. It's that close. Monster has just overtaken Ice-T for 11th position further down the order, but of course we are following the current battle for the lead at the moment. As now I'm just going to go a quick point just to see what penalties are there. So you can see Tim has a 5-second time penalty. Benjamin currently has no penalties. Huge in this race. Maiko has a 5-second time penalty. Teammate on the other hand does not. Thomas does not have a penalty. Luke does not have a penalty. And KJ has a penalty as well. So back in the action, apologies there, as Joran gets a time penalty. So as you can see, yes, so Tim has a 5-second time penalty, Benjamin does not. And also Maiko in 3rd position has a time penalty as well, but Simon does not either, and neither does Thomas. Thomas could be up the order now. It's so tight between them. Tim could go as far as being in the lead, relegated to as far as 5th with his penalties at the moment. course, KJ has penalties, but now KJ goes into the pits. A bold decision there. He looks like, is he retiring? He's left the session. That could be massive in the Constructors' Championship. That could be absolutely huge in the Constructors' Championship, with KJ looking like he's retired from the race. Right now, Racing Point are not scoring any points. As it stands, Mercedes only need another point to seal it, but Simon has got a time penalty now for multiple warnings, which will now relegate. Both Mercedes will be relegated behind Thomas. So Thomas currently in a podium position as it stands. I do not believe it will be enough for Mercedes to seal second in the Constructors' Championship, but they will go a very long way towards doing that. It will be all but done with 2 races to go. There's the same Matthias in the comment section. So Matthias, hope you're doing well, mate. Shame you're not with us, but look forward to having you back with us for the next race to finish off this season. It's been a great season, and of course we're just about to reach its climax. And now, 6 laps to go. Tim leading in the Red Bull under immense pressure from Benjamin behind him. Don't forget, Tim has a 5-second time penalty, so Benjamin doesn't know that, or at least his race engineer might be telling him that. But he has got nothing to gain from trying to make a lunge. All he needs to do, tuck up behind him. And Bulwark in the chat section saying Benjamin's Jeff, or the race engineer for those of you unfamiliar, for Benjamin saying Tim does not have a penalty. Well, let's see if my credibility stands or if I've made a mistake. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, as you can see, 5-second time penalty for Tim, which I don't believe he served according to the race director. So Jeff, you need to sort yourself out, mate. You need to go out and get the clipboard out, have a word with the race director, because right now Ardapple Gamer Benjamin looks in a good position. Well, it's a bit of a contrast, of course. Thank you for those of you in the chat that is able to point this out to me about some of the stuff that's happening in the pits. It does say that Tim has took his time penalty in the pits, so we'll have to wait to see the checkered flag what it says. But if that's the case, right now Tim is still leading this race. At this point, I don't even know, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the race engineers letting me know in the chat, giving me all the great data and the feedback that we need to make sure that I don't make an absolute mess of it. But right now, with 5 laps to go, the 2 Mercedes currently running in 3rd and 4th, but of course time penalties could play a factor as they start to get very racy now. Once again, Simon all over the back of his teammate. Will he be able to get onto the podium? What will Thomas do? Can he get onto the podium after what was a very, very poor start? Very fortunate not to be taken out of the race. Let's go further down the order. Incident between Yoram, who's lost his front wing, and Kerem has retired from the race in the Alfa Romeo. It's gone from bad to worse for Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. What a terrible race that they have had. It's not been their day, and a virtual safety car now. So just a little bit of a breather, guys. Virtual safety car out. I would say for the last couple of laps, now is the time if you needed to get another drink. If you needed to get another drink or something to eat before we get back under racing, now is the time. Yeah, a bit of a discussion going on in the chat whether or not Tim's has served his penalty. I don't believe he has. And Bulwark makes a good point in the chat saying that if Tim had took his time penalty in the pits for his 1 stop, and believe it or not, it was a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I don't know if you can serve that when you're having that current stop. So I believe Tim still has his time penalty, but of course when the checkered flag goes down and when the race is over, we will find out for sure. But right now Tim leads on the road. Benjamin Ardapple Gamer in 2nd place, trying to go for the win. 2 Mercedes 3rd and 4th. A bit of a gap now between Maiko and Simon. A second now. Thomas a bit further behind in 5th. Luke in 6th. Felix in 7th. Lorenzo Bandini having a nice Sunday drive. Position, followed in Donkey, who's now in the points. 9th position. And Ice-T has finally moved back into the points of Racing Point to help cement their challenge for the Constructors' Championship, but it's looking very bleak for Racing Point with KJ out of the race. Just a few laps to go now. Wait and see. Yes, we will wait and see. Exactly my sentiments on this one, to see what happens. The race director, the checker flag, will reveal all at the end, but of course right now it's Tim that leads on the road. Benjamin following closely behind him, trying to pull as much pressure on him as he possibly can, as Monster gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. So as we come to the conclusion of this race, guys, let me know who you think is driver of the day. Who is your driver of the day, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the chat. Plenty of great candidates. Not even I'm 100% sure, but right now, this man, Tim Wentink, definitely a good candidate for that award. Plenty of great drives for some great drivers in this championship. Benjamin, another challenger for driver of the day, started second, still in second place, could very much win. Of course, if Tim has not served his time penalty in the pits, we may find Benjamin winning this race as well, getting back onto the top step of the podium. It's been a while for him. I'm sure he'll be delighted to get a win once again. Of course, yes, Simon, great drive from him, and the Mercedes made up some places right behind his teammate. Right now, remains to be seen if he can get on the podium, but right now with penalties, you may find that Thomas sitting in 5th place and the Williams may end up on the podium. After all this is said, there's so many penalties, hard to tell where this is all going to shake up. Of course, I hope you agree it's been an excellent race so far, guys, just as we're about to get to the last stages of the race. If you agree with me, let me know. Please like and share this with your friends, family, mum, dad, work colleague, cat, dog, if you have one, even your budgie or your parrot. They need to see Formula Euroleague. This is exactly what we want to see on Sunday evening, to lift our spirits until the real Formula 1 racing gets back to our screens once again, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. In the meantime, F1 esports and virtual racing will help to fill that void, as we got 2 laps to go now. Tim, as he's done since midpoint in this race, since lap 12 or 13 in this race, currently leading the chasing pack. It's been a flawless drive from Tim, who's held his own very, very nicely. But will that time penalty, will that speeding in the pit lane penalty, will that cost him an otherwise very thoroughly earned victory? He may be left with his head in his hands, as this man Benjamin behind him again has driven a brilliant race. As Maiko gets another time penalty for multiple warnings, so that is going to hurt him even more. He may fall further down than off the podium. He may fall behind even Felix in 7th. Once again, Maiko could be undone by penalties. It's been a while since Benjamin's been on the top step of the podium, and I'm sure he'll be delighted once again if he does do that today. Of course, I'm going to leave it down in the chat section for those of you who believe who your driver of the day is. Of course, I will give my opinion on this, but of course the opinion that matters is yours. The fans, the friends, colleagues, everyone watching it, love to see that FEL Ferrari as we approach the final lap of the race, saying my rabbit is watching this too. Excellent to see. What's the name of your rabbit? Absolutely love animals, love rabbits. I'm not at home with my family at the moment in my apartment, but I'm sure my dog Lola, wherever she is, whatever she's doing, probably not even the slightest bit interested in what is going on. She's probably running around barking at neighbours, barking in the garden. But it's a lovely evening tonight. Now hopefully it's lovely where you are as well, as we come to the final part of the race now. Who's going to win? Is it going to be Tim in the Red Bull? Once again, a brilliant drive from him. Is he going to be able to finish it off, or will the penalty hand the victory to Benjamin, our double gamer? Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. Yes, Lassie in the chats. Mittens the cat. Hello, Mittens. How are you? Hopefully Lassia is give you a nice saucer full of milk as you sit up and watch Formula Euroleague. What a race this has been. It's absolutely flown by. Not been the hallmark for overtaking as other races have been, but it's been a race of immense pressure and excellent consistency for a lot of drivers out there. And now we're about to approach 130R for the final time as Tim looks like he's got Benjamin covered off, but can he hold on to this victory? We're about to find out as Tim comes through the chicane. Is it going to be Tim's day in Red Bull, or is it going to go to Benjamin in the Renault as they come across the line? And it's Benjamin who gets the win. Our Doppelganger crosses the line to win. Simon, and it's Thomas who comes third. Penalties for Mercedes has relegated Simon and Maiko down the order. Simon comes fourth. Luke fifth in the Toro Rosso. Felix up to sixth. Maiko, as predicted, falls down the order to seventh. Donkey and the sister Red Bull in eighth. Lorenzo Bandini ninth. Ice-T coming through the final corner with Monster. Is a drag race to the line. Monster's got a great run. Is he going to overtake him? And he does, but a penalty for Monster. And Ice-T works out in Ice-T's favour. Ice-T up into 10th place. Monster beating him to the line. Magic Alonso 11th in the Ferrari. Plenty of penalties, but it's today is all about Benjamin, who has got the race win for Renault. Very much needed that in the Constructors' Championship. An excellent result for Renault. I'm sure the Renault boss will be delighted with that result. Tim, commiserations to him. It was an excellent drive from him. But unfortunately, speeding in the pit lane, the one part of the track you do not want to go fast, has cost him a precious win in this championship. And that could be huge in the Drivers' Championship as well, with Tim currently occupying third place. Of course, will not shy at 18 points as his rivals in Ice-T and Felix further down the order. So it still counts, but of course he would have wanted more points than that. Of course, second place is not out of the question either. But that is the race, and here is your race winner, Benjamin R. Doppelganger in the Renault, car number 69. How appropriate given we're in Japan. Collects the trophy, and it's a fantastic performance. He is the winner, your winner, of the Formula Euroleague Japanese Grand Prix. What a great drive from Benjamin. I'm inclined to agree with the chat. Wanted to give Benjamin my driver of the day, but driver of the day, actually no, I will. Simon, yes, worthy, but unfortunately for not getting on the podium, driver of the day for me, Benjamin. And that is the Japanese Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. So to round off the order, provisional result, Benjamin R. Doppelganger winning in the Renault. Been a while since he's been on the top step of the podium, but it's his day today in the land of the rising sun. Second place, Tim, very cruel, but a penalty puts paid to his result, comes second. Darth FIFA, after a terrible start, manages to recover and comes third. The Formula Euroleague champion, brilliant drive for him. Simon Bok-Tormens fourth in the Mercedes. Luke, great drive from him, fifth in the Toro Rosso. Felix recovered to sixth in the Williams, not his day today. Maiko, again, penalties put paid, seventh for him in the Mercedes. Donkey, eighth in the Red Bull. Lorenzo Bandini, ninth in the Toro Rosso. And Ice-T, final championship point for him, 10th after that mammoth race to the line with Monster. So Mercedes not able to clinch second place in the Constructors' Championship, and the second place for Tim will go a long way to securing third place in the Drivers' Championship. Of course, second position is still not out of the question. But that is it for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me on this stream. Don't forget, it was a brilliant Formula European League Champions League second division race earlier on. Make sure to check that out. Brilliant race. Make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter as well. Instagram Formula_Euro_League. Twitter Euro_Formula. And of course, I have been your host and commentator, Adam Burns, also known as Adensky on Twitter and Instagram, so make sure to follow me there. And we will see you in the next race. I'm just going to check my calendar now before I sign off. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. Let me know on my social media. Send me a message. Let me know what you thought of it. So just going now to have a look at the calendar. to see the final race of the season, so bear with me. I did have the calendar with me, guys. So the next race is at the Temple of Speed, Monza in Italy, this time next week. 6:45 p.m. UK time, 7:45 p.m. European time. I hope to see you in the next Formula EuroLeague race at Monza. Take care, stay safe, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the